Thinking real estate back for 2014. Jackie Austin running the ship today.
I am.
Good morning, Jackie.
Hi, how are you?
Good.
Good. Did you have a good holiday?
What holiday? Oh, yeah, sure.
Did you get buried in snow like everybody else?
Absolutely.
It didn't avoid your house? I'm surprised.
No. A lot of shoveling.
Yeah, definitely. So, I brought a special guest with me, one of our favorites.
Surprise guest.
He is, yes. So, I got with me Ron Ellison from American Title. So, hi Ron.
Hi, good morning.
How are you?
Good.
Good.
I want to know, is Laura sitting on a beach somewhere where it's 85 degrees listening to us?
I don't know.
She's probably on the beach if she's listening. She's
the worldwide, I've heard you,
well, yeah,
on the internet.
can.
Yeah.
Do you know that I can sit in my deer blind and listen to you on the radio?
Yeah.
That's amazing. So, yes.
There you go. Good. The technology today is good.
Of course, you can just app it right on your phone.
That's what Laura does. She
Well,
puts it right on her phone.
That's how I listen to you. I got a backup battery. I just sit in my deer blind and have a great time.
Bless your heart, Ron.
I could do remote weather reports from the farm. You didn't have to guess.
It'd probably be better than mine.
No, you're pretty accurate.
Well, so today we just kind of wanted to talk about what's been going on. I brought some statistics and, just kind of wanted to chat since it's our first show of the year, see where things stand.
Well, one of the things, Jackie, you and I talked about yesterday, this morning on one of Greg's reports, Greg? Only 1 in 5 people are underwater now, and that's a big deal compared to the last 2 years.
Great, yeah.
It's a positive, yeah.
Sure it is.
Very positive.
And the ironic thing, and I've said this before, is, okay, 1 in 5 are underwater, and part of that's because of the economy, but we can't forget that some of those people, through refining and refining, put themselves underwater.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
that is a very positive statistic, I think, in the market.
Huge.
Yes.
I think so, yeah. I mean, I'm looking at the statistics from last year. We only had 34.5% of our closings were foreclosures, and 2.4% were short sales. So, that's...
Well,
63% were non-distressed sales, which
that's
is
not many
great.
short sales, is
No.
it?
Short sales are tough right now. So, banks are seeing that the prices are going up, and they don't want to lose that value in the houses.
Well, and if we go back again, 18 to 24 months ago, that foreclosure closing statistic, Jackie, was close to 50% or a touch over.
Yeah, I have in 2012 it was 42.9%, and the short sales were 4.9%. So, just alone in the non-distressed sales, we went from 52.2% to 63.1% in a year. And I think that's great. So.
And one of the other things is every week we get the legal news at work, and when you're getting foreclosed on, it appears in the legal news. And again, the foreclosure first insertion, second insertion, drastically down. So, recovering in Jackson is not like, say, in Ann Arbor, but it is so much more positive today than it was 12 months ago at this time.
Things are looking great. Prices are going up. If we look at the sold price, average sold price for a non-distressed sale last year was $131,000. The year in 2012 it was $118,000. So that's great. And even the distressed sales, their prices are going up. Foreclosures went from $52,800 to $56,700, and short sales went from $87,600 to $88,000. So lots of good stuff going on. And
any building that you're seeing?
Yes. Well, there has been building, and if you go out, I'm going to use Clark Lake as an example. Some of the builders have been busy with a lot of these lake properties. I was involved in a closing where they bought a property, and they call it a tear down. They're going to tear it down, build a brand new house. But surprisingly, there have been a lot of new constructions out there. Now, I joked with one of my builder friends, when is the next time we're going to get a builder to do a spec house in Jackson? But I'm going to tell you, you get over by Grass Lake, we've got some Grass Lake properties that have the Ann Arbor influence, and there's a couple of developments over there where someone has actually from the Ann Arbor market come over and started a spec house. So gradually, you're seeing that come back. You know, again, bankers are conservative in this market, and we saw it maybe 10 or 15 years ago. They don't want to do a spec home with a builder. It's like, if it's such a great deal, put your own money up. But
Okay.
it's again, new construction is better today than it was a year ago. So it's a lot of small steps in this market.
Do you think in Jackson it would be a big gamble? It seems like everybody's looking.
Everybody's looking, and I've always compared, you know, when you compare the Ann Arbor market with, and I'm going to say spec houses, over there you get a lot of people at the university, and we used to say Pfizer or whatever, they buy a house, they're there for 5 years maybe. And so they're used to buying a spec house. In Jackson, you know, somebody that's going to do new construction, I think they like to pick their own stuff.
Sure.
And so we're a different market because that's somewhat, I'll use the word transient. You know, you buy that new house, you're not going to be there very long. You don't care. Over here, you want to pick your own stuff out, you know. And over the years, I've seen some really nice spec homes be built in this market. In the Ann Arbor market, they'd be gone in a heartbeat. Over here, it's, I wanted this, so.
Yeah, just, you know, even little things, people over here will, you know, the countertops aren't exactly what I wanted, so this isn't the house for me. And that's fine, because the people that buy in Jackson tend to live in their houses for a long time, and they want what they want. So, you know, we see, we did a listing presentation not too long ago, right at the end of the year, for a couple that when we gave them the price, it wasn't quite what they had hoped, and they're just going to stay in their house because they can go in and they can do a new kitchen and make the house what they want for the next, you know, 5 or so years, and then sell it when the prices are up again. So we're seeing a lot of that too, where people are deciding, okay, maybe I can wait a little bit longer before I go and do 1 or 2 things that I can enjoy while I live here, and it will increase the value.
Are you taking calls?
Sure. We can
Good
do
morning.
this.
Yeah, hi. I have a question about the mobile home market. You had a lot of mobile home dealers that went out of business a couple of years ago. What's that all about? I'll just take your question and I'll hang up.
No, we took your question. But go ahead and hang up. We'll hang up.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I don't know that much about mobile homes because in the state of Michigan, real estate licensees can't sell mobile homes. It's not part of our license. I don't know, Ron, do you know much about them?
Well, I'm going to categorize and I'm going to group together a mobile home / manufactured home.
Okay, manufacturer.
Because what I've seen go out of business are some of the bigger manufactured home dealers.
How come?
Supply and demand. And the other thing, the market changed. In our world, you know, a manufactured home, they brought it in on a trailer, they put it together in 2 pieces, and a lot of people didn't realize there was a green title that went with it. And there was, I'm not going to bore you with all the details, but 8-10 years ago there was a lawsuit over a bankruptcy issue of, there was a green title to the mobile home.
What's a green title?
Like a car title. In other words, you actually got a title that said, I own this manufactured home number, and it gave the number. And even though it was permanently affixed to the dirt, to a basement, a bankruptcy judge ruled that because it had a green title, it was personal property. So banks took a different approach on lending on these because of that lawsuit. Now, we got over that. There's a way to deal with that. But again, with the mortgage meltdown, again, 10 years ago, 8 years ago, lenders were lending on everything, including manufactured homes.
Sure.
And because of all the problems, the manufactured home industry became a victim. The secondary market doesn't like manufactured housing anymore.
Yeah.
And people get confused. There's a manufactured home and then there's a modular home. And in our world, modular is better. That means it didn't come with a green title.
Right.
So I think supply and demand in the market hurt these dealers. And I think the mortgage meltdown and more conservative lending
Right.
practices.
Well, and as far as the manufactured, it is an issue that we have to deal with. Right now, I've got a buyer that's we're waiting for a title to be retired on a property, and the state is really backed up, of course. So we're waiting and waiting and waiting. This deal that could have been done, if it was a standard home, could have been done beginning of December. We still don't have a clear title on because we don't have the that retired yet. And it's it's a paperwork process. It always gets done. It's just a matter of waiting. And this house just happens to be one that we actually didn't even realize it was a manufactured house because it has a 2-story addition on it. And who would have thought a 2-story house would be manufactured? But it is something that we have to deal with. We then, there's additional steps as far as selling them. You have to get an engineer's report, which isn't standard in a standard sale. And the lending is a big issue. Our lender that we're working with has been very good about making sure he's got everything in line, so once we get that retired title, we can move right forward. So
I guess I haven't thought of, but he brings up a good point in the mobile homes. They
Right.
used to be dealers all over the
Everywhere.
place, and I don't see, and we had a lot of advertising here over the years, but that market has really been thinned out.
Oh, sure. I mean, you can go back 15 years ago, there were at least 2 or 3 big dealers that had been here a long time. And now, if you wanted to buy that product today, I think you have to go, might be somebody closer, but I know Coldwater. But locally, I mean, it's dried up, but it's a combination of those 2 factors, I think. So.
yeah, there we go. It's weird how the market affects different things that you wouldn't really necessarily think of when you're looking at what's going to happen. So
In along that line, because financing has become tougher and tougher, it goes back to something we've talked about for years. There are lenders locally that will help you out, but it's going to be that portfolio loan that they're not going to sell it on the secondary market. And so, again, it goes back to, if you talk to a local lender, you got a better chance of trying to work something out, whether
Will you pay higher?
oh, sure.
Higher
On a
rate?
portfolio loan, you're always going to pay a little bit higher, but part of something's better than all of nothing. And, it's a combination of, here is a seller going, what am I going to do? And one of the vehicles right now for a seller that we've seen an increase in is selling on land contracts. 25 years ago, land contract was a big deal. Until about 2 or 3 years ago, there were a lot of people in the real estate industry that when you use the term land contract, they'd never had a transaction because lending was so easy. They didn't need to do land contracts. So as the market gets tougher and rates go up a little bit, that's a vehicle that people have to look at.
yeah, and it will. I think we're a little slow on land contracts right now, but with the new lending stuff that's coming up, I believe those are going to come back to the forefront again. So
The new lending stuff.
new lending stuff, I don't know exactly what the new laws are, but there's some stuff coming out. I was in a meeting with a lender yesterday. The lender didn't even really know everything, so
Yeah.
it's still, they're still ironing out what's going to happen, but they're making things tougher for people to get loans, and it's a good thing and a frustrating thing at the same time. So
I think it's frustrating.
Jackie, I'm not going to go with good because
I think it's good to the fact that people are having to be more responsible, but it is making it more difficult. So
well, I think with today's rules, they've made people more responsible.
Yeah.
I think with what's coming down the pike, and I think Bill talked about it a week or so ago, and then Greg, Bill George and I have talked about it.
Yeah.
The new rules that I'm looking at are the ones that are going to make it tough on the lenders, that are ridiculous coming out of Washington, and I don't think they know what effect they're going to have on the smaller banks, and they never thought it through. So that's the frustrating thing. I think tightening it up on the lending from the borrower standpoint is a good thing, or has been a good thing. But this stuff, even in my industry, there's a lot of mystery there, depending on who you talk to, and you can't get straight answers. So our friends in Washington.
Yeah.
You can count on them every time. So prices are going up?
Prices
Jackie?
are going up, yep. We got prices going up. We got, now, it's a good time to buy. People that have their houses on the market right now want to sell, and so it's good for buyers to get out there, and buyers that are looking right now want to buy. So a lot of people say, oh, I want to wait till spring to put my house on the market. No, don't do that. The serious buyers are out right now in this, 4 feet of snow looking at houses.
What's out there?
What's out there? Well, let's see. There's lots of stuff out there. I showed a bunch of lake houses last weekend, which was interesting. I don't usually show a lot of lake houses in the snow. So there's that. There's, we've got some cute stuff on the market right now. I've got some price reductions. 2812 Wooddale is a condo. And, with all the snow, who wouldn't want to live in a condo where they take care of the snow for you? That price went down to $108,900. That's a 3-bedroom, 1.5 bath condo. It's in Timber Meadows, which is right out by Lemon Christie. 200 North Thompson, $59,000. 2-bedroom, 1 bath. Is so cute inside. You could move right in. It is a short sale, but I can deal with that. We'll make it work. Call me. And then 2115 Crest, another really cute house, 33.5. The current sellers went in and gutted this house, put in new electrical, new plumbing. Everything in this house is new. It's like buying a new house. 2 bedrooms, 1 bath, just over 600 square feet. So call me if you want information on any of those. What else is going on?
Well, if I said what's inventory, I mean compared to number of listings last year at this time to right now.
I haven't looked. I can tell you as far as our listings, we're down. We had about twice as many listings last year this time as we do right now, and I think that is a combination of a lot of things. It has a lot to do with the fewer people underwater. There's not as much desperation to sell, I don't think, and so people aren't putting their houses on the market. But like I said, it is a good time to sell because there are serious buyers out there that are looking, and actually these serious buyers want to get into houses before these new lending restrictions. So.
Well, and I would say to a serious buyer, you want to get into that new house now because rates have creeped up a little bit, but also as values creep up a little bit, the longer you wait, you're going to pay a little bit more.
Exactly.
I mean, the day of getting the bargain, I think, is gone for a while. So
yeah, I think so too.
Do you think the rates are going to continue to creep?
I think, if I knew that answer, Greg,
you can make a lot of money.
it's a gamble.
Yeah.
I'm a firm believer. Take the money right now. I mean, just don't wait because.
Right. Exactly. Yeah, and Laura did her predictions at the end of the year, and one of her predictions was that sellers are going to start pricing their houses higher. So those prices are creeping up, and they're going to keep creeping up because the sellers are going to be in more demand. So.
Hey, we're out of time. Call Ron at this number.
787-4830.
Just call him, say hi.
Yeah.
Call Jackie, buy a house.
517-780-3800.
Thanks, Jackie.
Thanks.
Thanks, Ron.
Thank you. Hey, when you had Greg and Annette in here.
Oh my
God.
News Talk 970 W.